So I saw Venom 2. I saw it. I watched it. Let's just get this over. I thought I'd wait a while before I do a review so I could have like thoughts on it. Now that it's been a week since I saw it, I can't remember shit about it. So that's kind of a bad sign already. There's not much to talk about with the story. In my opinion, I haven't heard no one say this, but I think it's like the same as the first one. You have Eddie and Venom, they're gonna fight.
Do you know how lucky you are that I chose you?
You chose me? But I'm the only person that took you in when your friends kicked you off the planet Mingmong because you are a reject.
Shut the fuck up.
And then they break up, and then right when Eddie's gonna die, you have Venom coming back, like right before he's gonna die to save him. So the same thing pretty much. But in this, you do have a different villain. You do have Carnage instead of the last villain, which was, I think, Riot. Yeah, it was Riot. He was like a gray one, and now it's a red one. Carnage is known by people in the comics, but I don't really know much about him. But I do know that I did want to see a good version of him in this movie. But his main motivation is his girlfriend, who is Shriek, who he's known since like a kid. But that relationship didn't really do anything for me. It's kind of just like two crazy people in love. It's kind of like two crazy people who just love each other. What the fuck? It was really forgettable, okay? So what I do like is that Venom does go on his own, like to see the world. I mean, not the world, like the city, I guess. But he doesn't really do anything. He goes to a glow-in-the-dark party, which I thought I never needed to see, and I didn't need to see that. It was kind of pointless to me. I mean, it doesn't really like do anything. Like, what's the purpose of that besides like jokes, I guess? Besides having it for laughs, like what's the point of that? You have this cop who is like, he's like the most generic movie cop ever. Like, he says what like the script needs him to say. That's all he'll say. It's like he doesn't have a brain. He'll show up randomly at Eddie's house, knock on the door, walk around the house, and like just talk to him while he's walking around the house, and just be like, he's like this. I think you're hiding stuff from me, Eddie. Hiding what? Stuff. I don't know. He's like, he doesn't have any leads. Eddie is hiding something. He's hiding Venom. But all he says is, every time people are dying, you're around it. What? I feel stupid trying to explain it. The only reason he's in this movie is because you have to have like a real world like eye looking at this. Like, if all this shit was happening and the cops weren't involved, you'd be like, why the fuck are the police not paying attention to this shit at all?
Watch your profanity.
So that's the only reason he's in this movie. I caught on this when I was in the movie, but it reminds me of like The Mask. Like, Venom is Jim Carrey's Mask, if that makes sense. Whenever he moves his arm like this, like, it makes a sound effect. Like, when I was seeing that, I was like, this is like a fucking 1980 like comedy. So the movie, it ends with Carnage and his girlfriend. They're getting married, and of course they kidnap Eddie's girlfriend. Instead of just killing her, you have Carnage just trying to kill Venom. But then you have Cletus trying to kill Eddie. But then you have Shriek right here, who every time she yells, all she does is just piss off Carnage. Like, what is she there for? This is only an hour and 30-minute movie, but I wish they just took her out the movie and just gave Carnage something else to do, because all she did was just piss Carnage off. She didn't piss off Cletus, she pissed off Carnage. That's all she really did, to be honest. The fight scenes, I think, are probably the weakest. I mean, this is coming from a Marvel movie. I haven't seen like a really good fight scene that stuck out to me in Marvel since like The Winter Soldier. See, there was a point in this movie where Venom was like on the floor, and I think it was, I don't know who it was, but someone was telling him like get up, like you gotta get up. And he's like, I can't. It was so weird, but like that actually confused me, because I was so confused of what hurt Venom. I can't tell what hurts him, because he's not made of human skin. He's made of like fucking goo. It's a symbiote. Like I was confused on how he was hurt, because I can't tell when these things take damage. All they really do is just like slam each other really hard to a wall, or like punch each other. And then Carnage has like the spikes of the knives, but like how does that hurt Venom? Maybe I just don't know how it really works. But Okay, imagine this scenario. Imagine Carnage cuts off Venom's head, like clean off. Could he not just like re-symbiote and put it back together? Like Jeepers Creepers or something? Yeah, the fight scenes I think are really holding this movie back. Not to mention, the biggest flaw of this movie was that it's just not rated R. I think the deal with Marvel and all that type of stuff is preventing these movies from being rated R. But honestly, like they're holding these type of movies back, because I know a lot of fans of Carnage want to see him just fuck shit up, and you kind of have to work around that when it's PG-13. There's only so much you can show. Like in the first one, you had every time Venom bit a head off, like it would just cut off. It was weird. It was kind of the same with that. Funny thing is though, while Carnage was on screen, I actually became a fan. I was watching him and I was thinking, damn, I hope we can see more of him. Like, please just don't let him die. And then they kill him off for like a joke. I want to talk about the post-credit scene. It was like the main highlight of the movie. It's kind of the only thing people are talking about in this movie. Really quick, there's two things about the post-credit scenes that I like. One of them is when Venom and Eddie are just talking. Like they're talking about, like Venom is sitting there, he's talking to him about, you have no idea what I can show you. I've seen like I think he said billions of worlds. I don't really remember exactly what he said, but that, honestly, that little dialogue was like the most interesting part, was like the most interesting conversation they've had before. It seems like they put a lot of effort into these post-credit scenes, more into the actual script in the movie. But like, why don't we see a movie about what Venom was talking about with all the worlds and shit? Like that sounds like 10,000 times better than what we saw, because like I said, this is like the same story, but it didn't need to be. Carnage honestly could have been introduced later on. I prefer a movie where like you can see where Venom came from, like an origin story. The first one was an origin story, but like before the origin, I guess. So that conversation, I wish they can dive into that, but with the second one, I guess it was during the exact moment when Doctor Strange and Spider-Man are having like their talk or whatever, and then like the spell kind of goes off, and I don't know, I have questions about it. Like I wonder, like did it put Venom in the MCU timeline? Did it put Venom in the MCU world? Like that would make more sense if he was linked with Spider-Man, but he's not really. He's just kind of his own character. So I don't know, a lot of questions. I'm kind of scared to see Eddie and Spider-Man on the same screen. It would, if it happens in No Way Home, it's gonna be really forced, I think. Hopefully they can move around it, or maybe he just makes a small cameo, which would be okay, I guess. But like they already have Morbius, you have other movies coming out for Sony. They should just connect those movies. Like I don't know why they're trying to force into the MCU so hard, because I don't know if people are even trying to see that. I'd rather just not. I don't need it. So I give this movie about a 4 out of 10, because it was really the same as the first. There were small improvements, but these movies need to be rated R. If there is a part 3, they just need to fucking pull the trigger and make this a rated R movie, because they're really holding back. I was kind of curious because I feel like they're in the same situation as the Godzilla movies, where you have Godzilla 1, you have King Kong, you have Godzilla 2, and then right after that, you have Godzilla vs. Kong. And you kind of showed, not all of them, but like the main characters already all in the movie. You already had King Kong and Godzilla fight. So like what else is there to show? In this universe, you have Riot, who's kind of well known, but then you have Carnage, who's really well known, but those are like what's the next story gonna be? So that's why I was suggesting they should just fucking switch it up and go a different direction. I give it a 4 out of 10. And it's just like, when the first one's bad, the second one has to be better. And this one was just like barely better in some ways, but kind of the same. That was my review. It's finally out. I talked about it. That's it. It's over. Later.